Hello, welcome to Matters of DeCorum. I'm Scott Corum. This is what matters to me. I'm schedule driven these days. I put schedules together for myself, things that I need to put out. It's a release schedule for DeCorum Limited, my gaming company. And I'm doing one of the things today that I really hate to do. Don't worry, this will come back. But I need to rearrange a few things. What this means, of course, is that I'm not getting War for the Shattered Earth out at the end of this month, which would be the end of this week. Now, why is it not getting out at the end of this month? There's a lot of stuff to do in a book, and inspiration isn't always my partner and friend. Sometimes the books don't write themselves at the speed I need them to. I got myself 2 months to write War for the Shattered Earth. It's going to take 3. Probably not more than 3. Which means at the end of this month, normally where I'd be putting out a substantial work, I just don't have time to get a product out. Doesn't happen to me very often. Maybe just a couple of times in the past couple of years, but still, it's annoying. But if I don't keep myself to some sort of schedule and keep my expectations of myself realistic, well, I won't last very long. I've got most of the year laid out here. Got 2 more setting books the size of Shattered Earth, and I'm giving myself considerably less time. Everything might have to move down. Wow. Now that I'm looking at it, the answer suggests itself. You're seeing the magic happening. This is kind of the way it works. Now, a lot of the groundwork that I'm doing in the Shattered Earth book will form format that the other world books will flow into. I'll be able to turn these blank pages and forms and formats into much more flowing versions of the books that I want to produce. It means a couple of things, of course. Not either of them good. It means that this month is going to be 1 product short. I mostly promote my products by putting new products up. A new product goes up on the front page of RPG Now, and Drive-Thru RPG. Well, people see it on the front page, buy it, maybe have a look at the rest of my products, and then go and buy a few more. Because I have them priced relatively low, certainly competitively, it's easy to go and buy 5, 6, 10 books, which is where the majority of our stuff comes in, Halo sales. The other thing that I get when I put up a role-playing book is that that's a paid post for my Patreons, and I'm going to be one short this month. So that is troublesome. It means less income. That's the problem with working for yourself, and particularly doing things in this industry. If you're not continually putting material out on a fairly regular basis, you get a dip in the income, which isn't good. Why do I do this on a whiteboard when I've got 10 project management programs that I could be using on my computer, not the least of which is just, Word? Well, this whiteboard is right in front of my office. It's right outside my bedroom, and that is the direction to the rest of the house. No matter what I'm doing, if I am moving around my own home, I'm seeing this. It's a constant reminder of what I am getting done and what I'm not. I have problems with motivation. I solve a lot of those problems with caffeine. And energy drinks. Again, like I said before, Monster has a really wonderful product called Monster Ultra Zero. No calories and no sugar, no carbs, but it really gives me a zing. But more than the chemical stimulation that I need to keep myself motivated is I need to keep myself focused on what the job is. If I'm doing things right, this area here is a blur because that's my Wi-Fi password, and I really don't need that to be on the YouTube channel. And yeah, I've still just given myself 2 months between the main core books, but like I said, if I get Shattered Earth done right, then its format will something that I can just scrub out and fill in with the information. Destiny 2025 is mostly already written in the form of Hot Chicks, the role-playing game. I just need to rewrite the salient material and advance the storyline. Solarpunk Genesis, that's going to be the trick. Because you're going to have a big, all-inclusive kitchen sink space game. I love space games. Science fiction is my real first love when it comes to role-playing games, but you need a lot of stuff in a proper space game. Even though I'm working on procedurally generating continents and civilizations and monsters for Shattered Earth, there's such a larger project to do the same thing for Solarpunk Genesis, to get space empires and alien races and new planets to explore and bizarre resources that people have never seen before, and all the Star Trek stuff that you really need to have in a good space game. Well, that is enough of putting my schedule together. I had a couple other things I wanted to get off my head. I believe I promised more special effects in these. Okay, technically that was an edit. All Sarah Love and War. So that's the writing side of things, how things are going with the game production, which is slow. Even though I've already written the core system for the victory system, I don't want to put out a setting book that isn't complete. It's not going to be an exhaustive book of everything available in the game setting of the Shattered Earth, but it's going to be a lot of it. If I put absolutely everything in there, I wouldn't have any more supplements to write. That and the book would be like 1,000 pages long, and it'd never see print. Black and white interior, small, reasonable number of pages, because I'd like to print it. There are a number of other things I'd really, really like to talk about, and I don't entirely feel free doing so. We are entering a presidential election cycle. It is July of 2015, and we elect our next president November of next year. Our country is facing a large number of challenges, serious ones. we've got problems. We also have a lot of positive things happening, and I know I'm not going to please all of the people all of the time. Can't. Not a possibility. And I'm not 100% sure of the political affiliations of the people who are viewing me. Hopefully all across the board, although I have noted a surprising amount of more conservative viewership. Thank you. I myself, my political party is a proud decline to state, and I don't really claim a political alignment. I suppose if you had to nail me down to one, I tend to be leftist liberal. There's a reason for that. And here's where I'm going to stray into some potentially dangerous area. I don't believe this country was founded for anything but the people in the country. I think the people who make up the country are the most important thing in it. That what is the best for the most number of people is the best for the country. And I'm not talking about favoring any specific group or any organization. I'm talking about the individuals who make up those organizations and groups. As divided and polarized as this country is right now, I still think every person has a voice that should be listened to. I believe everyone has a certain number of inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And I believe that the government's duty is to its people. We have a problem with that these days, in that the government's duty has come to be towards the people who contribute most towards the people who constitute our government. We have a political system that selects for one skill set, and that skill set is getting elected. And since we have people who are in office who have been selected primarily for their skill in getting elected, not in governing, not in being able to manage disasters or handle finances, but getting elected, those people will tend to legislate in favor of methods by which they can get elected and profit by getting elected. I'm not naming a party because it happens on both sides. It's the political process that we have. It has allowed for the introduction of vast amounts of cash flow into our political process. And lo and behold, as fewer and fewer people have control over a larger and larger amount of the cash flow, a smaller and smaller amount of people have much in the way of political voice. That is not good for the country or even the majority of the country. It's not good for the people. We, the people. And I'd like to see that problem addressed first. Of course, addressing that problem means the politicians who are in a position to do so will need to abandon the system or directly contravene it, which is unlikely. There are some people who seem like they're going to give it a good college try, and I hope for the best for them. But we have a huge number of ridiculous smokescreens that are present in the media and on check your Facebook feed, you'll see them. Things that people become very passionate about that aren't really issues. They are important to certain individuals, but they have been blown so out of proportion, and there has been so much energy put into pumping these issues into vast, huge, overreaching difficulties that we fail to see that they are there so that we don't notice the direction of our political process, or that we care less. Or worse, that someone who claims to be able to deal with these issues, regardless of whether they can or not, will have a better chance of getting elected. Now, these are important issues. They're things that need to be addressed, but not by our political process. This is things that we need to work out person to person. Politics has never done anything but react poorly to these and introduce elements that will lie, cheat, steal, hurt, induce injury in order to make their position seen. And whether we are talking about women's health, LGBT rights, gun control, or any of a number of huge other hot button issues, that's something the people need to work out. That's what we need to tell our politicians how to do, and not let our politicians tell us how it's being done. Because to our politicians, all of those issues are means and ways of getting elected. And the more polarized people are about them, and the more energy is put into that polarization, the more you're ready to get into a fist fight with someone about it, the less progress is actually being made towards any of these issues. I'd like to sit down and have nice, reasoned, calm discussions about them. I would like logic and facts to take the place of the emotional rhetoric that we are seeing more and more replacing these things. What two people sitting down over a coffee can just do to try and find a common ground, as opposed to 1,000 memes on Facebook screaming that you're right. We tend to vilify individuals. And in vilifying them, we attribute to them far more power than they actually possess. Thanks, Obama. We look at the portions of an argument that we agree with as fact, and the portions of an argument, no matter how factual, that disagree with our belief as suspect and perhaps misleading. It's called confirmation bias. We all have it. I do. But a calm, rational discussion is really the only way to overcome it. Let's see how much of our confirmation bias we can set aside and see how much we can come to a middle ground understanding of these issues, because there's one there. We need to stop telling the other side what they believe, because what we are taught about what the other side believes is what our side wants us to think their argument is. Group A has a good set of facts. Group B has a good set of facts. But Group B is instructed that Group A has a different set of facts that sounds ridiculous and is easy to refute. So Group B starts shouting these arguments back at Group A, and Group A starts telling Group B that they sound like idiots because they're not using rational logic. To which Group B believes they have scored a hit because now Group A has descended to calling them morons. Over and over and over again, it is very easy to see this process happening online, but you gotta step back and watch. I don't get involved in political arguments as much as I can, but oh my lord, I want to. Oh geez. Just a few statistics here and there, or a demonstration of the logical fallacy that exists in a Facebook post. It is so tempting, but I don't, because it's not going to contribute to our discussion. An invitation to coffee and a discussion, maybe. But if you tell someone who is hammering your wall with quotes about one issue or another that there is something wrong with their sources and maybe they should reconsider, that becomes an attack. Then you're the bad guy. And we live in a very unusual age of interpersonal communications. Make no mistakes, the people who post these things are, for the most part, my friends. I can disagree with my friends. I often disagree with my friends. And we can agree to disagree on things. If you meet most of my friends and get them in a mood to talk about me, heck, you don't even have to talk to any of my friends. I will say it first. I am really stubborn, and once I've decided that I know what the right way is, I'm very hard to dissuade from that. But, show it to me in clean logic and facts, and I will probably nod and get quiet for a minute while I reconcile with myself and then try and drop it. I have learned that I need to accept when I am wrong. I've learned that slow and careful study of the issues makes you wrong a little bit less. That's another thing we need to face as a society that we are quickly running away from. There are such things as facts. Objective, provable, demonstrable facts. And these facts can occur in the form of statistics about the usage of certain equipment or weapons, or facts about how the majority of scientists view events that are occurring on and around our world. These are facts, and you can argue them, but you cannot argue them correctly. Or rather, you cannot argue them and be right. You're just arguing. It might be because you have a very definitive stance on the matter, but we do have things called right and wrong, or true and false. And if something is demonstrably, provably true, to argue the other side is just arguing, no matter what you believe. I'm on a little Percocet. I took some last night. I'm having a bit of an earache. Probably going to need to see someone about it. A little bit of a fever, too. So if I'm a little passionate about things, or sweaty, and it's hot. But I really do believe that the issues are far less important than the civility with which we approach them. Because if we approach things civilly, if we are ready to let go of a belief that is demonstrated to be incorrect, and that's hard. I know I'm not suggesting something that is easy. It's easy to say, it's incredibly difficult to do. I've been struggling with it for my whole life. There are things I've been taught practically from the cradle that are not necessarily true. And I need to not only accept that some of those things might not be true, but I also need to understand that some of the things telling me that those long held beliefs might not be true might also be incorrect. And examine them. Look for primary sources. See how reliable methodology is. If we can get past this phase of shouting at each other in pictures online and clinging to our beliefs past and beyond what is reasonable, maybe we've got a shot. Maybe we've got a chance. There's a lot of incredible things coming up in our near future if we can just keep it together. Stephen Hawking is starting to talk about his belief in the fact that the human mind can be transferred into a data format in the upcoming 20 years or so. I can hold on that long. We're seeing the real possibilities of efficient, impossible to understand but completely usable space drives, the colonization of near satellites and other planets. All that utopian science fiction that we see laid out in front of us. It's getting to be within reach. Discovery of other Earth-like planets in the Milky Way, and the phenomenal ability that we have seen to explore our own solar system and our own world. There's still vast tracts of the ocean and sections of land that we haven't really fully plumbed. We're facing financial meltdowns, political meltdowns. We're facing the fall of capitalist ideals. We're seeing that this political system of selecting people by their ability to get elected isn't working. That when you do that for long enough, what you have are people who can't get anything they need done except finding other people to blame for the fact that they haven't gotten anything done. Because that's how you get elected. It stresses me, it worries me, it angers me to some degree to see the behavior of the people who purport to be our leadership, especially when they're trying to get elected, because a friend of mine online did suggest we build just this big rebar dome, and he suggested it for a slightly different situation, but I think we just pitched everyone in there 2-minute or 1-man leave. I wouldn't want to be led by the person who came out of Thunderdome, actually, now that I think about it. But some contest other than this process of election, currying favor, getting the approval of the people who can give you the most money, who are going to give you money in exchange for the favor that you are going to show them when you're in office. Oh my God, that needs to stop. Because that's not good for the people. We, the people. I have waxed on for a bit. Thank you for sitting with me. If you have a contrary viewpoint to what I'm not sure, but comment. Pass the link to this video around, see if you can get other people to chime in on what they think of the state of things. If you enjoyed the video, hit my Patreon site, have a look, see if you'd be interested in being a contributor. I really do need every little bit that I can get, especially with having to push things back a little bit. Any assistance at all right now is helpful, even $1 or $2. If that's not your style, in the comments you'll find a link to my catalog page at RPG Now. If you're interested in my writing or the games that I write, have a look at my catalog, see if there's anything in there that you find interesting, buy a title or two. Like I said, I'll try and keep them competitive. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll try and be a little bit more specific about some of these beliefs, about some specific issues. But again, I don't think the issues are as important as how we talk about them. And that we're all ready to step away from our sacred cows and talk. That's what matters to me. My name is Scott Corum. I will see you next time on the next Matters of Decorum.